Alright, so we all know that Spider-Man is strong, like really strong. We've seen different film versions of the character over the years doing some pretty amazing things, like stopping trains, smashing cars, and tanking hits from other superpowered beings like it was nothing. And while that is definitely the same route that Marvel went with when they introduced the character in Captain America Civil War, giving the character similar feats of strength, we didn't know exactly how strong he could be in the MCU. I mean, he was only on screen for a few minutes in costume, so they were kinda limited in how much they could pack into the movie. But since the trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming is out by this point, complete with yet another strength feat, I figured it was about time we found out how strong the MCU Spider-Man really is. Alright, so like how we did when calculating the speed of the CW version of the Flash, links in the description, go check it out, we need to get a base strength stat to start with, and I think a good one is right here. During the big fight at the airport, Peter catches and restrains Captain America as he's going for his shield. This is pretty impressive considering that Captain America can curl well over 3,000 pounds. How do we know this? Well, earlier in the movie, we saw Captain America stopping Bucky from escaping in a helicopter. The helicopter in question, according to the Internet Movie Plane database, is an Airbus AS350, which has a maximum lift of about 3,000 pounds or about 1,360 kilograms. Look, he almost pulled the thing down with both hands earlier in this scene, and Spider-Man still stalemated him. Even more impressive is when he casually blocked a serious punch from the Winter Soldier earlier in the airport fight. We know it's casual for Spidey because of how he reacted afterwards.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude!
What's impressive about it is that the Winter Soldier punched at him with his bionic arm, an arm that clearly exceeds Captain America's strength level, so we know it's able to at least curl over 3,000 pounds, to the point where he can crack concrete with a single punch, rip the door off an armored car, and use a Gerber Mark II knife to puncture the side of a different car and cut it as if it were tissue paper. Now skipping back towards Spidey's first appearance in the movie, during the scene when Tony Stark first goes to meet him at his apartment in Queens, we see footage of Peter as Spider-Man casually catching and stopping a speeding car from crashing into a bus. We know it's casual for him because you can see Peter, seconds after catching the car, jumping and swinging away from the scene as if it was nothing. As pointed out by Tony, the car weighs in at 3,000 pounds or about 1,360 kilograms.
Wow, nice catch. 3,000 pounds, 40 miles an hour. It's not easy.
But wait, that's not all here. The car was also moving at 40 miles an hour, so by trying to catch the car, Spidey would have been affected by something called impact forces. Now, impact force is basically when two things collide, causing a greater amount of force than normal. To put it simply, the quicker you stop something, the more force you're hit with. In this case, Spider-Man would have felt the car as heavier than it actually was because he caught and held it quickly, stopping it from continuing to speed down the road. So what kind of forces was he hit by? To find out, we have to fill in this formula here, where force equals 1/2 times the mass of our object times velocity squared divided by the slowdown distance of the object. Now, converting the car's weight and speed into metrics for my audience outside of the US, and assuming that Spider-Man stopped the car about an inch from the bus, we get the following numbers. Now, calculating all of that, we find out that Spider-Man was hit with about 8,565,180 newtons. Now, that sounds impressive, but we're still not done yet. Back to the fight between Spider-Man and Captain America in the Civil War. I know I'm skipping around a lot, just bear with me. We saw Spidey catch and hold an aero bridge, which is basically the part that allows people to board their planes before a flight. According to OptusNet, a typical aero bridge weighs in at about 27 metric tons, or about 59,524 pounds, or about 26,999 kilograms. However, that's technically not Spider-Man's limit here. As pointed out in a video by Gubbs, links in the description, Spider-Man catching the aero bridge is another example of impact force, with his calculations proving that Spider-Man was hit with 81,322,164 newtons, which, as pointed out by Gubbs, means that Spider-Man's 5,000 times stronger than the average man in this scene, and we're still not done. Now finally, skipping over to the trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming, we see during a fight with the Vulture that Spider-Man is holding two halves of a ship together in what could be an homage to the train scene in Spider-Man 2. But how much weight is he actually holding? To find that out, first we need to figure out exactly what he's holding. We know from the coloring and the marking on the side that he's holding one of the Staten Island ferry ships, and judging from the size of the ship, I'm guessing that it's either the MV Senator John J. Marchi or the MV Spirit of America, both of which are among the largest ships offered by the ferry service. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to assume that it's the John J. Marchi. Now that ship has a displacement tonnage of 2,794, which when converted means it weighs about 6,258,560 pounds, or about 2,838,835 kilograms. Now assuming that the ship was split cleanly in half, which we can probably say is accurate since you can see the Statue of Liberty in the background and the water down there, then Spider-Man's holding 3,129,280 pounds, or about 1,564 4,640 kilograms with each arm. That is insanely strong. That's putting him at like the 3,000 ton range. But even that's not the end of it. Keep in mind, he's still just a teenager, still early into his superhero career. And because of that, it's highly likely that as time goes on, we'll see Spider-Man get even stronger, maybe to the point where he's one of the strongest heroes on the MCU Earth. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to click that like button, maybe leave me a comment while you're at it, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check out any of my social media pages. I've got a Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. All those links are going to be in the description below. And I've also got my last video right there in the middle of your screen, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and click it, check it out. Alright, and I will see you all next time.